Hello guys, gals, non-binary pals, and welcome to a new series. It's a Storied World. I've always loved stories, and I've always understood how important stories are to us and who we are as a species, to our different cultures, our different heritages, to our own experiences. And I wanted to make a series all about storytelling. Because if there's anything that I think I'm the most passionate about, I do acting, I do writing and poetry and gaming, but I think the one thing that ties these all together has always been storytelling. I think every story that exists deserves to be told, and I want to do my part to tell these stories. I am going to be writing all of my own scripts, so these aren't going to be like word for word the original stories. These are going to be filtered through my own interpretations, my own experiences as a human being, my own perceptions and understandings, and I want you to understand that before we go into this series, that if something doesn't seem quite the way that you know it from your source material, do know that for each of these stories, I have put a little bit of me inside every one of them, and I do hope you enjoy them. Today is the first episode, and I have a double feature for you today. I've got two creation stories, one from the book of Genesis, and the other one is the Norse creation myth, because I figured, first episode of a storytelling series, what better place to start than the beginning? So without further ado, guys, gals, non-binary pals, let's dive in to this storied world. Genesis, circa 1440 BCE. In the beginning, there was nothing. Then the Lord said, "Let there be light." And there was, and it was good. A loud crash, a fierce bang, and everything was created in that moment. Every atom, every quark, every speck of stardust that the Creator would need for this brave new endeavor, all created in a single instant. Then the Creator looked and saw at everything outside the light, and named it darkness. And it was good, for it too was carefully crafted by the Creator. Now, within this darkness and light, the world was created, round and perfect, and it was good, for it was molded by the Creator. This was the end of the first day of creation. The next day, the Creator took the earth and breathed life into it. Air, wind, the sky, and all the life-giving oxygen were created this way. The earth now had its sky, and it was good, for the Creator is the one who breathed it into being. This was the end of the second day of creation. The next day, the Creator molded the lands, stone, soil, mud, crystal, magma, and lava, mountains and valleys, boulders and pebbles, and the caves that stretch down deep underground. Bedrock made of the hardest stone forged in the hottest fires of the earth's deep core. Thus the lands were created, and it was good, for the Creator had carved those stones, valleys, hills, and mountains. Then the Creator made the oceans, the seas, the rivers and streams, the lakes and ponds, rain and tears, every drop of rain, every particle of mist, every puddle on the ground, It was all made here, and it was good, for the Creator made it. Finally, the Creator decorated the land and the sea with diverse flora of all kinds, shapes, and colors. Countless rich shades and hues of green, rich purples, brilliant blues, striking whites, passionate reds, gentle pinks, gorgeous yellows, the wood on the trees, the paper-thin leaves, the colorful petals, the entangling roots, roses, lilies, flytraps, berries, fruits, vegetables, snowdrops, even poison ivy were all planted by the Creator's hand. And they were good, for the Creator had tended to the garden. This was the end of the third day of creation. The next day, the Creator took the light and darkness that had been created on the first day and began to decorate the sky created on the second day. A bright golden sphere was placed in the sky to illuminate the day, and the Creator named it the sun, and it was good, for the Creator had placed it there. For the night, the Creator placed a white disk whose shape could change with each passing night into the inky black night, and named it the moon, and it was good, for the Creator had placed it there. The Creator took smaller droplets of light and began to decorate the rest of the night sky with them. The small dots created shapes called constellations, and they were a map of the universe. The Creator then named these droplets of light caught in the dark night sky the stars, and they were good, for the Creator had placed them there. This was the end of the fourth day of creation. The next day, the Creator began to make the animals. The Creator began with the sea, and created all animals that swim, fish of all kinds, large aquatic mammals such as dolphins and the majestic orcas, invertebrates, octopi and squids, slugs and anemones, crustaceans, crabs and lobsters. As the Creator went deeper, the creatures only became more mysterious and awe-inspiring. Coelacanths and anglerfish, the largest whale to the smallest phytoplankton, all serve their purpose in the waterways of the earth, and they are good, for the Creator put them there for a good reason. After this, the Creator set forth to populate the skies. Birds, insects, and flying mammals were created. The wise crow to the sacred albatross, the simply majestic eagle to the elaborately decorated birds of paradise, the gentle honeybee to the fierce wasp, the buzzing fly to the shrieking cicada, the feathered owl to the furry bat. All served their purpose in the skies of the earth, and they are good, for the Creator put them there for good reason. This was the end of the fifth day of creation. The next day, the Creator set forth to populate the lands. All those creatures that call the soil their home were brought into being. The mighty ox to the gentle capybara, the ferocious bear to the timid rabbit, the elegant spider to the clumsy koala, the slithering serpent to the sprinting cheetah. All were placed onto the lands, and they were good, for the Creator believes them all to be important. After this, the Creator took the clay from where a river met the soil and began to mold those clay figures. The first one was named Adam, the first man, who the Creator had crafted in his own image. The second was named Eve, the first woman, whom the Creator had crafted in her own image. The Creator then charged Adam and Eve with the sacred duty of protecting the earth that had so freshly been made. Tend to the garden, take care of the plants and the animals and the waters and the soil and the sky. Connect with the nature around you and show it the same reverence that you would show me. For if you tend to it with care, it shall provide to you, as I have. Go forth and procreate. Protect your children. Educate them on the ways of the world. Always be truthful, and love them unconditionally, as I love you unconditionally. I say this unto you. In these two, the Creator saw all of humanity that would follow, all the races, religions, nations, orientations, identities, abilities, and virtues, the full spectrum of humanity, the countless experiences that we would have. The Creator created all of humanity, and it was good. For the Creator put himself in every man. The Creator put herself in every woman. The Creator put themselves into everyone in between. This was the end of the 6th day of creation. The next day, the Creator gathered all the living things that had been made and cradled them gently. Come, my children, much work has been done, and now it is time to rest. It is important to rest. Make sure you are healthy and taken care of. Remember this when you are stressed or downtrodden, this gift of rest that I give you now. All the animals, and all the plants, and all the stones, and Adam and Eve, all laid in their Creator's bosom, and there was rest, and it was good. End of the Genesis story. The death of Ymir, the birth of the world. Circa 790 AD. Long, long ago, before there was anything, there was Ginnungagap, the great dark emptiness. Then there were 2 more realms. To the north, the frigid Niflheim, so cold, in fact, that there was not an inch of it that was not covered in ice or snow or frost. To the south, the fiery Muspelheim, blazing and ferocious. Fire and lava and smoke fill this realm, the realm that then became the home of the mighty giant Surtur, with his mighty sword that will bring around the end come Ragnarok. Now, where the heat of Muspelheim met the cold of Niflheim, the stoic ice was embraced by the dancing flames. Water began to drip, and from these drops, the Jotun Ymir, the first living thing, was born. In the dark emptiness of Ginnungagap, Emir laid down to rest, and soon fell asleep. As he slept, he began to sweat. The sweat under his arm, slid down his skin and began to drip down. And as the drops fell, they became living Jotnar, a man and a woman. Then, as Ymir's mighty knees fell one onto the other and joined, then was born another Jotun, a son named Ymir. In the emptiness, the three giants struggled in pain, as their stomachs were empty. A loud hiss was suddenly heard above them, and once again the ice and fire had met, and another drop of water had formed. When it fell and splashed down onto the ground, a large female cow appeared, and her name was Audhumbla, the first mother, and she breastfed the giants. Through the maternal milk, the three became a family. After the family was fed, they set off to find a place to call home. To sate her own hunger, Audhumbla walked over to a slab of salty ice and began to lick the salt clean. She did this for several days. On the first day, hair became visible. On the second day, a full head emerged. On the third day, the full body was freed. The man born of the salty ice was named Buri, who was first of the Aesir. He would later have a son called Bor, and Bor would have three sons named Odin, Vili, and Ve. Odin, Vili, and Ve were afraid of how heavily outnumbered they were by the Jotnar. They also resented the vast emptiness of Ginnungagap that they had been born into. They wished for more, so they waited, quietly, for Emir to fall asleep again. And when he did, the three Aesir slaughtered him. The sleeping giant tried to fight back, but was eventually slain by the three brothers. His blood poured out with a torrent more violent than his death, straight towards the homes of the Jotnar. All of them drowned except for two, Bulgermir and his wife, who fled to a land of mist that would protect them. They named this realm Jotunheimr, the land of the giants. Here, all giants would live in safety until the time when the battle horn of Ragnarok is sounded. With Ymir slain and the Jotnar retreated, the three gods began their work to create the world. Their first task had already been done for them, as all the blood that had poured out of Ymir's corpse became the oceans, seas, rivers, lakes, and fjords. From his flesh, they created the land. From his bones, they carved the mighty mountains. They shattered his teeth and turned them into the rocks and stones. They cut his hair and planted it in the ground to make the grasses. From his eyelashes, they crafted the new realm of Midgard. The brothers then took what remained of Ymir's skull, and with it they created the domed sky, and his brains became the clouds. One can only wonder what those clouds are thinking. The gods then traveled to Muspel, caught the hot embers flying on its winds, and returned to Midgard, where they tossed them up onto Ymir's skull to create the stars. Finally, the gods settled down in the plains of Idavol, and it was there that they built Asgard, the home of the gods. Ymir had been slain, and the world had been created from his remains, but still there was more life to come from his death. As with all rotting bodies, the corpse of Emir was soon crawling with maggots and worms, and as those worms grew and left the body behind, they turned into the dwarves. 4 of them, however, would be the first. They all took form and set out, each in their own cardinal direction. Nordi traveled to the north, Vestri traveled west, Sundri traveled south, Austri traveled east. Meanwhile, the rest of the dwarves carved for themselves homes by digging through the ground and stone. They named it Svartalheim, the realm of the underground. All these realms gently nestled in the branches of Yggdrasil, the world tree, whose roots were entangled into the very fabric of existence itself. There, of course, was much to be done still, for the lands of Midgard remained empty. The 3 brothers often found themselves walking the shores of Midgard, trying to decide how best to fill the empty land. That is until one day, when the trio came across 2 logs, one of an ash tree and one of an elm tree. Stricken with inspiration, Vili took out his knife and began to carve them into shapes, the same shapes as the gods themselves. Next, Ve placed his hand upon the carven figures and gave them mind, intelligence, and the ability to move of their own will. Finally, Odin whispered ancient words, and as the breath from his lips befell the wood, it entered into them and gave them spirit and life. They took the one carved of ash and beheld him a man, and named him Ask. They then took the one carved of elm and beheld her a woman, and named her Embla. The gods set Ask of the ash tree and Embla of the elm tree free in Midgard, and their descendants would soon populate the whole realm. But not all humans would show their due reverence to the gods. So soon, in fact, that one man named Mundilfari was so proud of his 2 children that he proclaimed them to be more beautiful than even the gods, and he named his son Mani and his daughter Sol. Odin was enraged by Mundilfari's hubris, and as divine punishment, his children were cast into the heavens. Sol was given a golden chariot that shone with a brilliant glow, and was pulled by 2 horses. Mani was given a silver chariot that had a soft luminescence about it, and was pulled by 1 horse. Odin then set 2 wolves loose upon them. Skoll chased after Sol, who was always fast enough to evade her pursuer, while Hati chased after Mani, who only had one horse to pull his chariot. Every night, Hati would take a bite of the silver chariot, but once the chariot had been fully devoured, Hati would be slowed by gluttony-induced lethargy, which would give Mani enough time to escape and slowly rebuild his chariot bit by bit, before Mani would once again begin the hunt. And now you know how the world was made. You saw how Ginnungagap's great emptiness was filled by the waters that flowed from the passionate embrace of fire and ice. You have seen how the giant Ymir, brutally slain, was pieced together by the gods to create this beautiful and wondrous world of ours. You watched the dwarves build their caverns and gazed in awe as the sun and moon raced across the sky to elude their fierce predators. So go out and explore this strange and beautiful world that Odin and Vili and Ve have made for us. Hello everyone, I hope you have enjoyed this first episode of It's a Storied World. I apologize that this video is really late. It was supposed to come out last week, but it is allergy season here in the Ohio River Valley. It's always allergy season in the Ohio River Valley, but it's that time of year where everything's getting worse. And I've been super sick. I haven't been able to record, and then there was some stuff going on in my personal life that I'm not going to talk about here. But I ended up recording this at like 2 a.m. the morning that this ends up going up. So I apologize. There are going to be a few stutters. There are going to be a few misspeaks here and there, and I don't really have the time to edit it. Future episodes will hopefully have a bit more time to edit, and I'll hopefully be a lot less tired, and I won't be feeling as sick when I record. But I really wanted to get this video out today so that the special Halloween episode can come out on Sunday, and that this episode will still be the first one, because, you know, it's the beginnings episode. It kind of has to be the first one. Also, really quickly, I do want to give a huge thank you to I Have No Life, Just Art, my good friend Alexandria, for making the amazing artwork of Moxie for this series. It's great. You should follow her on Twitter and Tumblr, which will both be linked down in the description. Thanks again, Alexandria. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really hope you stick around for more. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It's really going to help me out as a small, disabled LGBT YouTuber. I really need all the help that I can get. If you like my stuff, please stick around for more. Maybe even ring the notification bell if you are so inclined. But until next time, guys, gals, non-binary pals, remember to always tell your story.
Let me take you for a ride.